it's a big deal to bring your stuff underneath one roof. It's sometimes very stressful. And I have a couple of tips that I want to share with you on how to do it without a lot of judgment. Because what I want to remind everyone is that we all see the world differently. And we want to find where we have the overlap inside of our relationships and how we see things. Please take a moment. Inside of the show notes, I'm going to drop a link. I have a compatibility questionnaire that is going to be a wonderful tool for both of you. It takes, I think, 10 minutes to fill out, but it allows you to really understand where you match up and where you don't. And the places that you don't, that's okay. That's just information. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't move in together. But it also helps with expectations that you might both be coming into the relationship and into the home with. So please check that out. It's worth your time. Okay, so when you are moving into this new space, whether it's an apartment or a home or who knows, maybe it's a van, who knows, you've really got to get on board with a lot of communication. So you can create a beautiful sanctuary together, and it's not like more dominant of one person's style than the other, because the space is going to feel so much better to both of you if you're both really actively working as a team to create something that feels good to both of you. You may not love his coffee table and he's got a real strong attachment to it, and vice versa. You might love Nana's chair that you've had for years and he is like, that's not great. I do not like that. So there's going to be things that you both like and dislike that of each other's. That's not a reason to get rid of. Start to talk about carving some spaces inside of the home or the apartment. Maybe you have a small little corner that you have your things in that you can go to and maybe have a wonderful time remembering Nana while you're sitting in her chair, reading with her desk lamp. And so that it's your little nook. And sometimes you can actually, of course, blend things that you both really enjoy. Oh, I really like that piece of art. Great. I love that couch. Let's put those together. Really try and find little pockets so that you can have some autonomy from each other and not everything is a blend of both of you. If you have space, it would be great to have some separate rooms, maybe a separate office, maybe even a separate bedroom. You know, sometimes you want to sleep by yourself. That can happen. Obviously, this is all if you have the space to do so. But to have these conversations, these open and honest, transparent conversations about what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy, to have these conversations ideally allow you both to come to the table with true transparency around what it is that you want to live with in your space. Some things will probably go into a storage unit or go into the basement or the garage. You won't be able to fit everything together, I bet. Because when you think that we each have all of this stuff that we're bringing under one roof now that we might have actually lived with by ourselves, it's exponential. You now have double the kitchen that you had. So there needs to be some discussion around, okay, whose plates are we going to use? Whose silverware are we going to use? And try and be respectful of each other's possessions, even though you might not enjoy them. It's going to be a little bit of a give and take. I think the more that you can speak openly about it as you're doing this process of moving in together, you're really going to start to be able to build that muscle of honest communication. I have a wonderful, wonderful tool. I wrote a book. It's all about clutter in couples, and it's how clutter impacts your relationship. I really want to say there's some wonderful tools that will help you be able to dialogue. And this particular communication tool, I can't say enough about it. It's wonderful. It's just 3 questions. It's going to really allow you to feel love, see where you guys overlap, and then maybe bring in that issue that might be a little bit challenging. So it's not as abrupt. It's not so heavy. There's some sweetness that's involved in the conversation. The book goes into great detail. I highly recommend the book just for that reason. It's pretty fantastic. But the rest of the book has some wonderful tips, action items, all sorts of things that will help you settle into your home and create the sanctuary that you really both want to live in. This is a big deal. It is a big deal to move in together. And the more that you can do that with compassion and care and love for each other and their stuff, the better it's going to be. And you can't live with all of it. So ideally, both of you figure out either someone's going to say goodbye to certain things that they no longer need, or you'll maybe rent a storage unit so you can put half the stuff that you're not going to be using inside of your home out of your home so it's not crowded, because a crowded home can get really tense pretty quick, especially if your nervous system doesn't like clutter. You know, if you tend to be more on the tidy side and your partner that you're moving in with is not, there's going to be some friction. And so come in with it wholeheartedly, right, with lots and lots of love and a lot of communication around it. It's going to serve, because otherwise it's going to be a tense house. And you don't want to live in that. It's not good for you. So, Colette Roy, Clutter and Couples. Like, subscribe, all the goodies. I'd love to have you here. I have a lot to offer. Thanks for joining.